We are on slide 11, and this is real-world quadratic keywords. So we see a parabola. That is actually a downward parabola. And if you look at this, think about it as you're throwing something in the air. It reaches a peak, and then it falls back down. Or you can think about it as you start up here. Let's say you're on top of a building, and then you throw a ball up. It still reaches its peak, and then it comes back down. So sometimes you will see questions like this where you are looking for what is the peak or what is the highest that the ball travels. So that would be your vertex. That would be how high it is, your maximum. How high off the ground does the object start? That would be your y-intercept. And let's say you're starting at the top of the building, so it actually is not even down here because you can't have negatives in the real world. Not dealing with distance anyway. So the x-axis deals with distance. The ball travels or the object travels. The y-axis deals with height. So this is a -0. Remember, a 0 is an x-intercept. So in the real world, this would be the ground level. You can't have a -0, so the object actually starts at the y-intercept. The object is thrown up in the air. It reaches the highest point, and then it starts to fall. So when does the object hit the ground? That would be your x-intercept or your 0. And how long is the object in the air? That would be also your 0, because it's time and then height. I might have said distance a minute ago. I meant to say time. Okay, so let's look at the vertex form. So what we have dealt with so far is our standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is our vertex form. This is on our formula chart that we get to use during our EOC. So if you look at your EOC chart, down at the bottom we have standard form, and then we have the vertex form. We have learned standard form so far, and we can always put this into y equals. We can put both of them into y equals to see what the graph looks like, to find our zeros, to find our vertex, our max, our min, our y-intercept. We can also use the vertex form to find certain things. So let's look at this vertex form. We are going to put some text boxes on here. So y equals ax minus h squared plus k. So see how there's a minus in our formula? That is similar to how we had a minus in our point slope formula. So it's going to change the values of whatever y1 is. It's going to change it to a minus or a negative. Same thing for the h and k. The h and k, that is actually your vertex. So make a text box. And your vertex is point H, K. Make it bigger. And color it blue. I'm just going to go over here. And then the axis of symmetry is the x value of your vertex. So it's x equals h is your axis of symmetry. So all of these values, a, h, and k, have a job, basically. H and k is where your vertex is. H is where your axis of symmetry is. And A actually determines if the parabola is going to be an up parabola like this, or if that A is negative, it's going to be a downward parabola like that. So we'll look at our first example. Y equals x plus 3 squared minus 6. On each of these, I'm going to make a text box. And right underneath, I'm going to write the standard vertex form, or the vertex form. Bless you. I want you to copy and paste this to each one of these for examples. So we'll use the formula to compare to the function they've given us. And also copy and paste this over on the other side of the slide too. Okay, so let's get to it. If we have, let's look at what is our A value here. There's nothing there, so what would the A value be? It would just be 1, yeah. Okay, what about the H value? Our formula says minus. So what is the H value going to have to be in order for it to go from a minus a number to plus 3? Yep, so let's put a -3 right there. Because minus and negative becomes plus. So our H value, I'm going to push enter. I can do my vertex. So my H value is -3. And so then what is my K value? It's supposed to be plus a number, but this is minus a number. So what's the K value? It's -6. So our vertex is H. So I'm going to go over here and put H right underneath and K right underneath this one. So our vertex is -3, -6. And our axis of symmetry is x equals h. So x equals the h value, -3. And now let's look at our calculator. And let's go to y equals. And let's put this in. And we need to practice a couple of things with this. We need to practice finding that vertex so that we can check our answer. So go to y1 and put in our function, the original that they gave us, this x plus 3 in parentheses squared minus 6. Then go to graph and let's look at it. Let's go over the steps of how to find the vertex. Whenever you have your graph and we want to calculate or find something, we go to calculate. So second, trace. We all need to practice this. So get out your calculator and do it. What are we finding from this? A minimum or a maximum? Where is the vertex at? It's right here. Is that a maximum or a minimum? It's a minimum. It's a low point, right? The lowest point on that graph. So I put in y equals the function. I go to graph. Then I go to calculate. And it's a minimum. Now go over to where that minimum is. So we can estimate it. But then go to the left. Y'all listen? Go to the left of where that minimum is. So I'm going to go over a couple of spaces left. Push enter. Then I'm going to go over to the right side of where that minimum is, because the minimum's right here. To the right of it would be over here. Push enter. And then push enter. And see how it gives us our vertex right away? -3, -6. So we got it right. And the axis of symmetry always goes straight down our vertex. So it's x equals whatever the x value is of our vertex. Okay, let's go to the next one. Y equals negative, parentheses, x minus 3 squared. What do you think this negative is going to do right here? Make it a -1, and how is it going to be changed? If it's going upward right now, it's going to make it go downward. So what is the h value? The formula has negative, right? So it's +3. And then what's the k value? There's nothing there, so what would it be? Nope, 0. Whenever you add something, that would change it. But a 0, whenever you add 0, that doesn't change it. So then our h value is 3. And our k value is 0. So our vertex is 3, 0. And then the axis of symmetry, what is that going to be? 3. Yep, x equals 3, because it's what is the x value of our vertex, which is 3. Okay, let's do that in the calculator. Let's go to y equals, clear out what's in there. Put in negative. Make sure you use the negative and not minus, because you'll get an error. So negative, parentheses, x minus 3, parentheses squared. Graph it. So see how it's flipped over? And the reason was because that a value, there's a negative out front. Okay, let's practice doing our vertex. So the steps are second, calculate. Is this going to be a minimum or a maximum? Maximum, yep, because it's a hill. So go down to maximum or press 4. Let's go to where the maximum is. It's up here. And then go to the left side of it. So I'm going to go over a couple of spaces to the left side of the maximum, enter. And go to the maximum and go to the right side of it. Guess, enter. 3.0000, so that rounds to 3. What about this other number? -2.24e -13. What does that round to? Anytime you have e, that means you're moving your decimal over that many spaces. So if you have a -13, you're going to move the decimal over 13 spaces to the left, and you put zeros in those spaces. So it'd be -0.00000024, 2, 2, 4, something like that. So what would we round this to? 0, yeah. So it's 3, 0, and that's what we got. Okay, let's do the next one. Y equals x minus 4 squared plus 7. What is the h value? Yep. What is the k value? So our vertex is 4, 7. What's our axis of symmetry? Positive 4, yeah. X equals 4. So let's put it in the calculator. X minus 4 squared plus 7. Go to graph. Are we finding a minimum or a maximum? Minimum because it's a low point here. So we'll go to second calc, minimum. Look at where it has your point. So if you're not sure where your cursor is, see how it says 0, 23? So that's going to be way up here, you know? So you're going to have to arrow to the right until your cursor comes down. There it is. Here's our minimum value. Now I want to go to the left of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter. Then here's my minimum value. I want to go to the right of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it really doesn't matter how many times. You just want to go over to the right. And now it gives us 3.9999 and then y is 7. So what would that round to? 4, 7. Okay, so we're good on that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Negative 2x squared plus 3. So where is the h? Where's the k? Is there a plus a single number that's not squared? So that'd be your k. So the k value is 3. What would that make the h value? 0. Our h value is 0. And our k value is 3. Would be 0, 3. And our axis of symmetry, what would that be? Yep, x equals 0. What is this negative going to do to our function, our graph? There's a negative with the x squared out front.
Make it go.
Is it going to be like this, or is it going to be like this? YMCA, Y, YMCA, Y, or M? M. All right, so let's put that in. So y equals negative 2x squared plus 3. Go to graph. Okay, so it is like the upside down. So we want to do, are we doing a minimum or a maximum here? Maximum. So go second, calculate, maximum. It starts out at our vertex, actually. We're going to go to the left side, push enter, over to the right side, push enter, guess, enter. What is that first number? 1.858 e negative 6. What does that round to?
0.
0, yeah. So we have 0, 3, so we did it correctly. All right, let's go over to the other page. Y equals x plus 2 squared minus 3. Okay, let's figure out what the h is. So it says x plus 2, but our h value is supposed to be minus. So what does that mean our h is? Negative 2, because the only way to make this a plus is if you have minus and negative 2. So our h value is negative 2. I know I don't have much room and I'm kind of going over that, but that's okay. So then what's the k value? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative 3. Okay, how do we get the axis of symmetry? Where does that come from? The h. So it'll be x equals negative 2. And then we need to go ahead and write the vertex hk. So this will be negative 2, negative 3. We need domain and range. I want to go ahead and graph it. So we need to plot this vertex. So grab a shape. So negative 2, negative 3. So I created a point and then I made it red. Did y'all plot your point negative 2, negative 3? So you go left 2 and down 3. Then we need points on both sides of the vertex. So we need to go to the right side and then reflect it to the left side. Let's also do our line, our axis of symmetry. I made mine yellow and I'm kind of darkening it up a little bit. There's my line of axis of symmetry. X equals negative 2. So then we need more points. So I'm going to copy and paste this point a few times. I need 4 more points. Pull them over here. So the easiest way to do this is we're going to use this table right here. I'm going to make a text box over the top of it. And in this red circle, that's where the vertex is going to go. So the point of the vertex is negative 2. 3, negative 3. And I know this vertex is going to be our minimum because it's going to be going upward like this. So I need to find points on the right side and the left side. So after negative 2, I want to go up from there. So that'd be negative 1 for the next x value and 0. Then I want to go down from negative 2. To go down, I would go to negative 3. And then go down a little further, and that would be negative 4. I'm creating a table where my vertex is in the middle, and then I have 2 x's on both sides, and then I'm going to find the y values. If I was doing this by myself, how would I find y values that match those? The table from where? Calculator. All right, so let's go ahead and put this into y equals so we can fill in the rest of that table and graph it. So this would be x plus 2 squared minus 3. I can look at my graph, or I really just want to get those points. I'm going to go straight over to table. So second graph to go to table. If your table looks all crazy like mine, I had an x value at a negative 24. You can go to second window. Second window. Have your table start at 0 if you want. Okay, so now I need to go to the values I need. So I need negative 4, which is 1. I need negative 3 is negative 2. And then negative 1 is negative 2. And 0 is 1. See how even the table is symmetrical? You have a number in the middle. If you go up on the x's, you get negative 2, 1. If you go down on the x's, you get negative 2, 1. So it's also symmetrical. So what I want you to do is I want you to finish these 2 examples for your homework. Just graph it on that, and then graph this one. Do your table of values.